with making of our robot, but before that what we need is soldering these motors. So these motors have wheels attached and these wheels are going to rotate and the robot will either go forward or backwards. Also, we are going to control these motors using this PCB which has these joystick DP/DT switches, and you will see male connectors on the PCB. You have this rainbow wire, this colored wire, and on one side of the colored wire there are female connectors and on the other side there is nothing. These are bare wires. First of all, let us connect these female connectors, wires with female connectors on the PCB board. Now you will place the PCB board in such a way that you must be able to read this controller word, like this, okay, the right way, and then just start putting these female wires on the board. Okay, and then press them a little bit so that they are fixed properly. So this is done. Now the other side has bare wires, as I said. These are going to get soldered to these motors. The motors have wheels on them. We just need to remove, let me just put this aside. Remove these wheels by just pulling them. Don't rotate the wheels in this fashion when they are on the motor, because that can hamper the gears inside the motor. This is a geared motor. This is not just any toy motor. It's geared. Okay, so like this. Place these motors in such a way that both the motors have their shafts facing outside, because wheels are going to be connected in this fashion outside the assembly. Okay. Now we have to check how does the motor rotate. For that we need this base panel which has double cell holder on it. Okay, right now we just need the double cell holder. Now what we are going to do is, this is how I will be operating the robot, like this. Wires on the other side. So the motor that is to my right will have two wires. Those are green and yellow. But how the wires are placed or are soldered to this motor matters a lot, because switching the wires will change the direction of rotation of this shaft. So what we'll do dummy connections. Let us connect this yellow wire down and green wire up for now, and let us touch red wire with the red wire of the cell holder and black wire with the orange wire which has black colored tape on it. Okay, and check the rotation. So if you can see through the camera, the rotation is opposite. Okay, let me show you again. So it is like this, which means that I will have to solder the green wire on the lower side and yellow wire on the upper side. And now let us check. Yes, correct. Let me show you in the camera. I am again connecting red wire with the red wire of cell holder and orange wire which has black colored tape on to the black wire of the cell holder. You can see now the motor is rotating properly. So green, when I put the motor like this, green wire goes down, yellow wire goes up. To fix this connection, we will solder these wires. Before that, let's just strip these wires a little bit. So that the soldering will be done properly. Strip them very little. Okay. Yellow wire goes up when the shaft is on the outside. Like this. Connect the wire in this fashion, and then the green wire goes like this and gets connected. And now we will solder these two wires to the terminal. Okay, so the gun is heated up. I'm going to take some solder material, soldering wire, and we will now solder this motor. Oh, let me take it. Yes, let us solder. All of you know how to solder now, so I don't need to tell you that. Solder the wire to the terminal. Okay, this is done. Now the other wire. Okay. So this is connected. I did the same with the other motor. I checked whether it is showing the proper forward direction, and accordingly I have connected these wires. So let us solder the wires. Make sure that they are stripped properly. All the strands are coming together. Okay, just solder it. The wires are soldered properly. Okay, let us solder this part again. Okay, now they are soldered. Let us start with making of rest of the robot. Let us keep these aside for a while. Let us start with the assembly of the rest of the robot. For the first step, we require these small L brackets and small bolts and of course nuts. You have to take the base panel. By base panel I mean the panel which has cell holder attached to it. Put the panel in such a way that the cell holder is facing you or it is facing the ceiling, and connect or fix the L brackets in this way, in this U section, like this. Both L brackets should face in this fashion using nuts and bolts. Okay, so let us connect one. The bracket should come on the side of the cell holder, like this, the L part, and from the other side we will fix it with nuts. It's a little tricky. Okay, let us fix nuts on it. If you want to tighten these nuts, you have to use a screwdriver and use the star head of the screwdriver. The screwdriver has two ends. The one that is given to you now has two sides, so don't use the flat side, use the star side. Okay, now let us fix the other bracket in the same way. These two wires of the cell holder through this oval hole in this fashion. Okay, done. Now we need to fix this roller in this space. Pass the roller through the hole of this L bracket, or sorry, pass the bolt through the hole of this L bracket. Then pass it through the hole of the roller. It will come from the other side. And fix it with a nut. See, now I have fixed this roller. But while fixing the roller, you have to make sure that this bolt is not tightened too much. We need this roller to move freely. Okay? So adjust this nut in such a way that it moves freely. Okay. Now we need two big L brackets like this. These are for the motors. You have to fix them using nuts and bolts in this fashion. Of course, you have to use small bolts. So let us fix that. As you can see, we have fixed the big L brackets. Make sure that the head of the bolt is here, like this, on top. And as you can see, the cell holder side has gone down now. Okay. Now we will fix our motors in this fashion. So we have already soldered these motors. To keep the motors in place, of course, we need something. So we are going to use these long bolts. There are two holes drilled in the motor case or housing as it is called. Put this bolt through the hole in the long or big L bracket and then pass it through the hole in the motor like this. Make sure that it is outside in. This bolt goes like this and does not come out in this fashion, otherwise you will not be able to fix the wheel. Again, the second bolt in the same way. Hand tighten it, nothing much to do. Always make sure that the shaft of the motors is on the outside, because for obvious reasons, doing the same with the other motor, fixing it with nuts and bolts. This fashion. Okay, and these two wires that are coming out from the cell holder will be fixed to the wires on this board, or sorry, on this rainbow wire. Strip the wires a little bit for better connection, of course. Okay, strip it a little more. Connect red wire from the cell holder to the red wire of the rainbow strip or multicolored wire, and connect black wire to the orange wire which has black colored band or wire on it. Okay, now this should not touch each other, these two. So just apply a piece of sellotape on top. So you can use any sellotape. I'm using a simple brown tape. I'm taking a simple brown tape and connecting. So put it around like this. It's okay if you put it around one. I'm putting around both of them. You can use transparent tape as well. It's perfectly fine. If you want, you can also solder these 2 points and then apply sellotape. Totally up to you. Okay. Just make sure that these bolts are connected properly. Now we will put the upper panel using 4 studs like this. The upper panel will be put using 4 studs. So these are the studs that we are going to use. Just one more thing. While fixing the bolts and nut assembly to the motor and this L bracket, make sure that you hand tighten it, because it is pretty tight like that. Don't use a screwdriver and tighten it way too much, otherwise it may hamper the gears that are there inside. Now let us put these studs on the 4 holes here. So the studs have holes in them. You will pass one small bolt through one hole and just tighten this stud on it like a screw. Okay, doing the same with the other stud. Take a small bolt, put it through, and then tighten the stud. So do the same for all 4 sides. Now these 4 studs we've put on the base panel, which has other components. This wire, rainbow wire, should be away from or in the other direction from this roller. It should be like this, back. So we are going to handle it from behind. The robot will move forward like this. Okay, so taking the top panel and put it on these studs and align the holes and fix it with bolts. Okay, so while fixing this, you will require screwdriver. Again, you have to make sure that you use the star side of the screwdriver. Okay, so what is missing now? Of course, wheels. Fix the wheels on the motor. The shape of the shaft and the shape inside that of the wheel is the same. Align it and fix it. Make sure and be very particular. Do not ever move this shaft in this fashion just for alignment. You will end up damaging the gear assembly inside. Okay, it's fixed. Just so it does not come out, we will use a small screw and put it in this hole and fix with a screwdriver, of course. But again, you have to make sure that you do not tighten it too much. Okay, just this much. Do not play wrestling game with the motor or while fixing anything on the motor. Not just this motor, any motor in robotics. Should be very gentle. Again, fix the screw and we are done. Now let us put cells, AA cells in the cell holder, and our robot is ready. Just a minute. So you can turn and do all the things that you want using these two switches. Okay.